shining bright like the healing rays. 420 patients, we stand as one. Safe access for everyone. Oh, we rise up, lifted higher. Medicine fueled by love and fire. Together we blaze, together we laugh. Patients for safe access. That's the
following production has been brought to you by the Hippie Broadcasting Network, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records. Now, here's your host, Summer Parker.
Hello, you guys. How is everyone doing today? Welcome back to our weekly Patients for Safe Access podcast. And make sure that you hit that like and subscribe right here on WTHC Radio, as well as you search me out and follow me, Summer Parker, or Dabbing Nana 78 on all platforms, and hit those like and subscribe or follow buttons, please. So today is going to be a really powerful episode. It's got a great message to this episode. My guest today, sorry, my apologies. My guest today is Shelly Dunham, and she is from here in Oklahoma area at the moment. And she has a daughter, Marley, who at some point needed cannabis treatment for some of her diagnoses. And we'll get into that in a minute. I wanted to start this episode off by what drew me to Shelly, okay? Because I don't know Shelly. I've not met her in person yet or anything like that. In fact, we've only spoken on the phone once. But when I was going through and scrolling through Scrollland, I ran across this post, and it grabbed my attention because it was a letter to the governor of Oklahoma and to the attorney general of Oklahoma. So you have Governor Kevin Stitt and Attorney General Gentner Drummond, who is running for governor in our state, okay? And so I'm going to read this letter to you guys, and then I'm going to bring Shelly up, and we're going to get to know each other together, okay? And it says here, I am writing to you as an Oklahoma mother whose child is alive today because of medical cannabis, not ideology, but outcome. When my daughter was 4 years old, neurologists told us to prepare for her death. Read that again. When my daughter was 4 years old, neurologists told us to prepare for her death. Her seizures were long, violent, and neurologically damaging, shortest recorded being 43 minutes. They caused oxygen deprivation, regression, and permanent risk. We lived in constant fear of the next seizure being the one that did not stop. To be clear and medically accurate, my daughter is not a candidate for surgery. She is not eligible for a shunt or a stent, and she is medication resistant. No pharmaceutical seizure medication has ever worked for her. Not one, ever. Cannabis was not an alternative. It was the only remaining option, and it worked. Since receiving her first medical marijuana card, my daughter has had only 2 seizures, both directly related to growth spurts that required dosage adjustments. She is now 4 years seizure-free, guys. 4 years seizure-free. Give me some applause, hippie. I know you got it up there. Oh, that's okay. Next here she says, but seizure control. But seizure control is only the beginning of the story. When her brain was no longer under constant assault, she began to heal. Today, my daughter is 13 and finally enrolled in public schools. She has friends. She cheers on a cheerability squad. She has won national titles doing what she loves. She is potty trained again after regression. She can spell her name. She is counting. She is learning and progressing every single day. This is not coincidence. This is not parental bias. This is neurological recovery following seizure control, a well-documented medical reality when catastrophic epilepsy is finally managed. So when you speak about restricting, rolling back, or undermining medical marijuana access, please understand what you are asking families like mine to do. You are asking us to remove the only treatment that has ever worked for our child. You are asking us to risk brain damage, regression, or death, not because of new medical evidence, but because of personal or political opinion. We already fought this battle once. Families like mine were forced into CPS cases because state agencies failed to communicate. Parents were investigated for saving their children's lives. Rules were changed only after real harm was done so that other families would not have to endure the same trauma. And now that progress is being threatened again. The people of Oklahoma already voted. Doctors already documented outcomes. Parents already testified. Children are already thriving. You do not get to reopen this issue as if it is theoretical. I will not move my family. I will not risk my child's life. I will not accept ideology over evidence. My daughter is not a policy experiment. She's not a debate point, and she is not expendable. She is alive, learning, growing, competing, laughing, and finally living, because cannabis succeeded where every other option failed. Respectfully, but without apology, no, we won't go backwards. Sincerely, a mother who chooses her child's life and will do so again every time. So, without further ado, the woman behind the words, Miss Shelley Dunham.
Hi.
Hi, Shelley.
Hey.
You all right over there?
Yes, I'm good. It's just hard to hear. We lived it, and it's a lot.
Your words were so impactful that I had to reach out to you, and I had to know the history behind the words.
Yeah, we've been through a lot. She's got quite a story to tell, but to meet her, she's a ray of sunshine, and she's really truthfully teaches you what's most important in life, and that those little things matter more. And knowing everything she's fought through, been through, and continues to just be the ray of sunshine and just happiness that she just radiates. It's a life lesson for us all.
Isn't it though? You've been advocating, like we talked a little bit on the phone earlier, and I had asked you a couple different questions, like how old was she whenever you started this journey, and you said that she was about 4 years old. What started this journey for you and for Marley?
Well, kind of like I started in the beginning of that letter, it was life or death. We didn't have options. The medicines weren't working. The stents weren't options. Surgeries weren't an option. And they were telling me my daughter was going to die. And that was never honestly an option for me. I never took that as an answer. I also come a family of church. So I was praying, I'm trying to figure out what can we do. And at the end of the day, it was that hearing that is hard and it's heartbreaking, but that was never something we were willing to accept. I'd heard stories, again, because I do have an epileptic child, of other epileptic children. Charlotte in Colorado, I was actually able to reach out and talk to that family. We were able to talk to several other families in Colorado. We were prepared to move prior to State Question 788 and go that way. And then we began to work with some of the lawmakers here. Again, I didn't really do a lot of the lawmaking hands-on, but I did allow them to use our story to help them understand that this is a reality here from a medicinal standpoint, and not just stoners wanting to get high. And so that was a big point, as I wanted that story to be told, that we do have children here that are advocating and are trying to have a better way, and we don't have another route. And I want to be clear, and even that letter to Stitt and any of these lawmakers, that this wasn't a secondary option. This wasn't alternative medicine. This was literally the only medicine that made it stop. And so for me, there's no options of turning back at this point. We will continue to make sure that she has the medicine available. And we will continue to advocate against any state officials that want to take those rights away from any of these patients.
And do you mind if I ask what type of cannabis treatment she's on?
So she has her own gummies, actually. They are formulated specifically for her. They are 35 milligrams of THC, or no, CBD, sorry. 35 milligrams of CBD to 12.5 milligrams of THC. So they are just double CBD to the THC. Anybody that knows about the medicinal part of that will help counteract the psychoactive effects. So she doesn't look stoned, if you will, when she eats a gummy. She doesn't get a little bit of the glossy eye and a little bit of the munchie, but she acts like a normal kid. People often ask me, does it bother you seeing your child on cannabis? And I've seen my child on Ativan, Valium, Klonopin. Right. The list is endless, where she was lost. She sat in the corner. She didn't want to talk to anybody but me. She was very to herself. She was not the bubbly kid that we know today. And she didn't want anybody else. But now, so again, she gets a little bit of a glaze eye. She does have a little bit of a munchie. But she's a normal kid. She laughs, she plays, she runs, she competes in her chill ability squad. She's got all these things going for her, and she lives a normal life because her medicine is allowing her to, instead of making her just a zombie in the corner.
I love that. So now you were mentioning that, this was all kind of like before 788, trying to figure stuff out. And then post 788, obviously you were able to get her a patient card and be able to start treating with products from the dispensaries. So, do you have a specific regimen that you have identified, obviously, that works best for her, whether it's a certain strain at a certain time of the day? Example, maybe it's Blue Dream in the morning or something like that has helped with these epileptic episodes?
So strains are hard to do because there's so many different phenotypes. So Blue Dream from this farm may be completely different than a Blue Dream from this farm. So we've really dove into the terpenes and the cannabinoids and the effects on how those different things vary. So again, she's 13, so I'm not handing her a joint. She does edibles only. Typically speaking, for epileptic patient, though, the linalool terpene tends to be the one that you would want to use because it has the anticonvulsant properties that will calm those neurons and allow it to stop the seizures. But for Marley, in edibles, you don't really get that terpene. I mean, full spec matters in that the other cannabinoids are in play, but the terpenes don't really play that role in an edible. So for her, it was really the proper balance of clean ingredients. We don't no dyes, proper clean whole foods making the gummy. Those things really mattered. Down to the double CBD to THC dosing was really the component. Now, with most children, I do work with other families, again, in advocacy, trying to help them figure out cannabis for their children. I'm not a doctor by any means, but I have experience. So I do speak from that point of experience, but every child is very different. And we've learned things down to what she eats for breakfast can impact the way that it hits her. If I feed her a fatty, very bacon, greasy substance breakfast, her edible hits her harder, faster, stronger, but it doesn't last. Whereas if we keep her diet more water soluble, we keep her diet more whole food, more like that type of means, it does time release out better for things like going to school where they're not, willing to administer a lot of times and things like that. So we've really had to figure out how to work this out specifically for her. And we've also helped other people kind of figure out how that looks for them. With children specifically, I always say start with CBD, try to work it there. The cannabis plant has the same endocannabinoid system that we do. So just massaging that may help us work this out. But for Marley, she requires the psychoactive pull. We learned from week-long stays that we'd have in the hospital that anytime that she elevates, whether she's excited, whether she's sad, mad, whatever it may be, she was having a neurological activity. The doctors referred to it kind of like a thunderstorm, whereas when she would elevate like that, it would kind of be like the lightning and the thunder and the wind part of it. And then the seizure would be the actual tornado. So that's kind of the way that we've associated that. So for Marley, that's why we were on things like Klonopin, Ativan, Valium, because she requires that psychoactive calm to prevent the seizure and the misfire. So when we approached the cannabis, we had to approach it the same scenario. We have to have that same psychoactive calm, which is why she requires the small doses of THC. But at the same time, she's 13 and her brain is growing, and we still don't want her high, if you will. And so we do have the CBD psychoactive pull too, but it also helps a lot with her tremors. It helps a lot with her body aches and things like that come associated with the neurological jerks and things like that. We've seen a lot. She has one medicine that's left. It is not a... Just one med. We have one med.
That's awesome.
And it's not even an addictive medication. It's not even in that family. And it's solely because it helps with, it's sodium almost. I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's because I'm put on the spot. She's taken this medicine for 10 years. And it's a sodium is what it is essentially. But it stops her tremors. So she'll shake like this. But if you just that one med, and she's steady. So that's the one thing that she still takes meds for. And we have an inhaler when her allergies flare, but we call those normal kid problems.
Right.
So we are happy to have an inhaler versus the battles. Her seizures were long. The shortest one we had was 43 minutes. Every time she had a seizure, we were starting timers. That's the best thing I could do for her was to video and start timers. And that shows the doctors a lot. I know I've had a lot of people in backlash from the public on us videoing pictures, but what they don't understand is that's the only thing I could do for that doctor in that moment. There's a lot of times that certain seizures I could show the doctor and they could be like, oh, that's weird, because normally she's stemming from the lower part of her right brain over here, whereas this one you can very clearly see stemmed from this side. And it's because of the way her eye twitched or the way, and those are things that I'm not trained to see because I'm not a brain scientist. However, because I was able to video those movements, the neurologists are able to pick up on certain things and where we need to connect to do so. So that's a lot of the pictures and videos you'll see will come from those things. There are a lot that I won't put on the internet because they're a lot for me to watch. And I don't go back and watch them, but I would not put there. I do, like when y'all asked about putting certain ones on the thing, there's certain things I do show that I will show for extremes just so that people understand this is real. But there's also a lot of that darker side of this was hard. Her seizure, she would be violent, throwing herself about, and it would take one, if not two, IV injections of Ativan to stop the seizure. And then it would be 2 or 3 days before my daughter would wake up. Now she's asleep. And then it would be days before she would wake up, while we would just lay there and I would just be like, please just yell at me, cry, scream, something.
Right, something.
She'd wake up. She would, and she'd be confused. There were times that she would wake up a couple days later, I just want my mommy, and just screaming it. And I'm like, baby, I'm right here. But she just wasn't there yet because of the extreme damage that was hurting her. She wouldn't be able to walk. She knew she could walk, but she wouldn't be able to walk. And it would be a week, sometimes 2, before she'd be back to baseline. And oftentimes we were already back at the hospital with another seizure before she would be back to baseline. And so that was a lot a lot to come by, and we were looking for anything to help.
Well, Shelley, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the epilepsy and cannabis and some other things. Give us a minute to gather ourselves here. And we're going to have a commercial from our sponsor, who is Hash RX here in Oklahoma. And our song today is going to be by Seed Squatch and Muck Sticky, and it is called You Could Change. And I think we have some words for our governor on how he could change. Take us out, hippie.
But we as individuals can change ourselves, and then when we do that, we encourage others to do the same, and we elevate each other, and we all come together in a bigger way.
Oh yeah, yeah. It seemed I could find a better life, tripping on the other side. I've seen a better side, so divine, yeah, so divine. And many times I've fallen down the slide just to get up, climb to a different height. All the while, it's all the while. So take it as it goes, 'cause it's gonna go. Are you gonna stay, live your life, 'cause you never know where it goes. So where do we go? I'll just keep slipping on the other slide, keep climbing to reach love at different heights. Yeah, all the while, yeah. It takes some time, it takes some time. Yeah, yeah. You want to hear the sound of walking away. You want to live your life and throw it away. Some say life's a blessing if you will gaze, so don't take. It's better when you give them away and don't fake. You want to hear the sound of walking away. You want to live your life and throw it away. Some say life's a blessing if you will gaze, so don't take. It's better when you give love away. You could change. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Sticky muck and I came to play. Sing a couple of songs to help brighten your day. Elevate your mind in a different way. Like a ray of sunshine will take away the gray. Maybe we could change up the way we think. Set a new course quick as you blink. On the sea of life, it's either swim or sink. Found the fountain of love and took a big old drink. Now I'm on a mission from the good Lord to make fun songs for when you get bored. If you feel down or you're being ignored, you're thinking you're a loser, well you ain't anymore. 'Cause you done won a golden ticket, I know you're gonna dig it. If people mistreat you, just tell them where to stick it. Maybe they should jam some old sticky muck. Me and old Sea Squatch gonna straighten them up, sing it.
Sometimes I'm falling in through space, lifting through time and love and some grace. But you don't know where I'm gonna go, 'cause I'm a dreaming of sunshine over the rainbow. Well, here's a bass line over the tag rhyme, a slight twist on a rhythm played all time. Well, there's nothing stopping you could change, yeah. You could change. Can't you hear this song? It's called your name. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it seemed I could find a better life, tripping on the other side. I've seen a better side, so divine, yeah, so divine. And many times I've fallen down the slide just to get up, climb to a different height. All the while, it takes some time, it takes some time. Yeah, yeah. You want to hear the sound we're talking away. You want to live your life and throw it away. Some say life's a blessing to give you a gift, so don't take. It's better when you give love away and don't fake. You want to hear the sound we're talking away. You want to live your life and throw it away. Some say life's a blessing to give you a gift, so don't take. It's better when you give love away. You could change.
Nugs of many sizes, my munchies, trippy friends, and stash jars are some of the gifts you'll find here at lovenugbuzz.com for a unique gift for your 420 friend. Love Nug Buzz will have what you want in the end.
Are you searching for affordable products and great rosin? Well, look no further. Whether you're keeping it simple or going all out, we've got you covered. Sunny's for everyday deals, and Hash RX for that premium fire. Sunny's keeps your stash affordable, giving you value every single day. When you want the best, Hash RX. Oklahoma's premium live rosin. No solvents, no shortcuts. Affordable or premium, the choice is yours. Find us at Oklahoma dispensaries.
Welcome to the shop where the colors come alive. Collectors dream and memories shine like fireworks in the sky. Stacked to the ceiling with stories in light. Magic in the air when the toys play at night. Robots spinning, Game Boys flashing, action figures strike a pose. Barbie's got her sunglasses on, G.I. Joe's in hero mode. Arcade lights and vintage signs, glowing warm and bright. Everybody smiles when the toys play at night. Race cars roaring down the aisle like thunder and chrome. Furby's waking up like they just found home. Every shelf's a treasure map, everything feels right. Step into the wonder when the toys play at night.
Welcome back to Patients for Safe Access. I'm the hippie, and during that commercial break, I thought about how many people are out there just trying to feel normal again. This isn't about trends, it's about healing, truth, and protecting each other. And I'm honored to be here with you. Now back to Summer and Patients for Safe Access.
That was really cool, hippie. Oh, welcome back, you guys. This beautiful lady on my side over here is Miss Shelley Dunham. And if you are just joining us post-break, we've been discussing Shelley's journey in medical cannabis for her child here in the state of Oklahoma. And right before the break, we actually read, the intro, I read her letter to the governor. And it was one of the things that caught my attention, Shelley, was because hippie, I don't know if you'll break me up big for just a second here, but this stack of documents is probably 15, 20 pages long of stuff, and at least 7 to 10 pages of this is letters to our governor. And yeah, we've wrote to him as well, asking for things like, help in getting pesticide expansion panels, zero chemicals, zero tolerance, an open records request, how we had received like 167 failed documents from the state on just one company alone, meaning that they knew about failed products and they had done nothing about it at that point. We've screamed and yelled and thrown a fit. We've taken and been to the governor's office by ourselves. We've been to the governor's office with a dozen people with us. We've been to the governor's office with reporters with us, and still have not had any ability to get access to have a meeting with the governor or anyone staffer wise even. So I wanted to ask you, how did it go when you wrote that letter? Did you get any response at all or any feedbacks?
None. No. We've got no response, but what I will say is that post has got 1.3 thousand shares, over half of those directly adding his direct Facebook. I'm pulling up the stats on the views currently, but I know he's seen it. That's right. What I can say is at the end of the day, I know whether he ignored my email, responded to my email or not, he knows. And I think that he understands that we're not going to go anywhere and that there's enough people behind us that understand
Right.
that they're also not going to go anywhere.
That's how I feel about our organization with Patients for Safe Access. When we first started going up there, it, like I said, it was me and Charles, because it was such a personal journey. It was like affecting our everyday life. I don't know if you know the full backstory, but like this picture right here was me in the hospital back in 2023. And I had consumed contaminated medical marijuana products that, unbeknownst to me, were contaminated products that supposedly, passed all the testing and was good to go, and bought it from the dispensary. And, everybody already knows it was Graves Farms that, I was affected by at the time. Mm-hmm. And so going to the governor's office and trying to get them to understand that, constituents and everyday Oklahomans and patients of our program were being harmed by these, contaminated products. Right. And to basically just get the door slammed in your face every time, metaphorically, because they're just not going to meet.
Exactly what it feels like too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of times people are like, why do you come to Facebook? And they think that that's the first thing I did.
Right.
It's really not. We wrote the letters. We tried to do this the right way. I came to their office and sat there and waited for them to just talk to me. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that we did legally, how we're supposed to, all those things prior to when we throw the fit on Facebook.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that I just do that. And that's not the case. I bring it to Facebook because I need the people I'm trying to talk to understand that this isn't just one mom throwing a fit. This is a lot of people that believe the same way I do. Yep. And you can't lead with deaf ears. You have no followers. You can't lead. So at the end of the day, I need them to understand that all these other people are living the same lives. All these other people are affected too. I speak on my daughter a billion times over because that's her livelihood. But just last year, even myself, I went from stage 3 ovarian cancer. I had surgery. We had 37% decrease prior to surgery. We went from going hip to hip to being able to do it laparoscopic just with cannabis use. Beyond that, I'm baffling the oncologist at this point because my counts are so low. We don't have to do radiology. We don't have to do chemo. We don't have to do any of those, even just a couple times. They wanted me to do 2 or 3 after surgery, but my counts are so low right now after surgery. I just had a hysterectomy in November, but my counts are so low right now that they're not requiring the radiation or the chemo. And it's a baffling thing. And all that's Josh Graston and the B elevated capsules. Those time relief capsules are what that have helped us and saved us this far. So, I mean, yes, I talk about my daughter, but like the medicinal impacts that I've lived and I've seen and I know is absolutely remarkable. And if they can say no to me all day long because I'm a 36-year-old girl and I've smoked it since I was 16 years old.
Right.
Don't say that to me all day long. But I keep saying it in all of these posts. I keep saying it in all of these comments. Say it to her. Mm-hmm. Say it to the 13-year-old little girl that was going to die when she was 4. Say it to the 13-year-old little girl who just last week, her little 12-person team cheerability squad got a bid to go compete at Worlds in Florida. She's going to compete for a world cheerleading title when just 9 years ago she was going to die. And I need them to understand this is a reality. This is not theoretical like it was with State Question. You could say, well, what if then? You can't say that now. We are established now. There's real results now. There's real evidence now. And I will wave a flag until you hear me.
No, for sure. Let's actually talk about her cheerability squad. I want to hear. This is absolutely amazing.
They're so amazing.
There's going to be some pictures that we're going to let Hippie show while we're talking about her cheerability squad stuff. If you don't mind, that'll be good. All right. So, Mom, tell us how proud you are.
Gosh, they're amazing. So Melanie Knight, Durant, Oklahoma. We didn't have anything like this. They're really, of course, they have like Special Olympics, those little events throughout the year.
Mhm.
But as far as a team to be a part of, a real community like any other sport, we didn't have that. And Melanie Knight, she is a special needs mom in the community, and she's got a heart for cheerleading. She set out and started this little cheerability squad called Elevate. We were one of the original 5 girls. We had 5 girls on the original squad. And they're all of differing abilities, whether that's Down syndrome, whether that is they have autism, they have, Marley specifically is epilepsy, whatever their differing ability is that would keep them from being on a regular competing squad. This is a squad for them. And we go to the same competitions. This last weekend, we were at DCC Nationals with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. There's different, so we go to these same competitions with the big bows and the makeup, just like all these other cheerleaders that you see competing. It's just we have our own division called Cheerabilities. And so it gives them a chance for something great. And so with that, we are in our 4th year now. This year we are ranked 2nd in the nation, which is incredible. And this last weekend, we got a bid to go compete in Florida for Worlds. We have 12 parents. Now, again, these are special needs kids, so we're not just going to ship our kids with a coach to Florida. This is 12 special needs kids, 12 parents. There is 7 coaches and 2 admin that we are looking to get to Florida. You guys will see those things if you follow me on Facebook as Shelly Dunham, or even our Elevate Cheer Facebook. You'll see some of the fundraising and things coming up for that, but it's a pretty substantial price. We're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 to get the whole team into this competition, travel expenses, lodging, and all of the things for this team. And so we're going to be doing some fundraising and things for that. But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This little girl 9 years ago, they told me that she wasn't going to live another day and to just expect and prepare for that. And here we are 9 years later, and she shines bright like a diamond. She has perfect attendance at school. Everybody at that school knows her because she loves people. And she just goes out on that stage and is like, here I am to prove that I'm amazing. And it's just, it's heartwarming, but it's also a lot for us as parents. We enter a place where everybody in the room's kid has a differing ability, and you don't have to explain your child. They're just children, and they play together, and we have people to lean on, and we show up at birthday parties with a crew that shows up too. And it's really the cheerabilities and the team that Melanie Knight has built for our kids in Durant, Oklahoma has become a true family, and it means the world to all of us.
Do you know if there's other cheer programs like what you and Melanie have created there?
I'm not sure where the closest one to us is. I know that we have kids on our squad in Durant, Oklahoma that come from Sherman and Denison, Texas. So we've got people traveling to us, I know, from an hour away. When we go to these competitions, there is other teams within the division. I'm not sure exactly how far from us is the closest next team. But I do know that we've got people coming to us from within an hour because they don't have the ability to do those same things there.
Man, I hope that program catches on at the schools and stuff. And like my boyfriend and I,
it's truly inspiring.
We talk all the time about like sports teams, like football teams, basketball teams, things like that. How if we had a punishment, basically, if you're bullying somebody and you're on a sports team, then you should, what'd you say it, Charlie? How'd you say it?
What was that?
If somebody is on a sports team and they're bullying a kid, how did you say it should be handled? Like they should have to have no bullying violations whatsoever in order to play on the team, basically. You know what I mean? Like if they get a violation for bullying, they shouldn't be able to play. And the whole team should be promoting inclusion, anti-bullying and those types of things.
I'm real big on no second chances for violent offenses. That's a whole nother side advocacy thing I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the bids to Florida. So guys, the thing on this is if you are watching this video and you want to help support getting Marley to Orlando, Florida for this cheerability competition, give her a holler, give Shelly a holler, DM her, however, hit me up if you want to, get in contact with her. We will ask you later if you happen to have your Cash App, ID and stuff like that. If you want to share that information on here today, you're more than welcome to. But guys, let's get Marley there, okay? $5, $1. Price of a pack of rolling papers, y'all. Come on now. I'm just saying.
For the sake of all my homies out there, buy better papers.
Hey, the jokers are only $1. No. We want to bring up that was a super high part there. Do you want to discuss what you had talked with me earlier about on the phone about CPS's involvement with things?
Oh, yeah. So a lot of the pictures that you'll see that are roaming through with the purple stars and the hearts and the Marley Strong and all the purple and all of those news articles that came through. So like with any medication, I'm not sure what our crowd knows about epilepsy, but you can't just start or stop anything, and you have to make gradual changes even when you are increasing. You can't do it overnight because any immediate changes, even in favor of the medication, even if you're increasing, any immediate changes can stir a seizure. So even if you're increasing doses, you have to gradually increase dosing. So Marley, prior to being seizure-free, stays about the same size for about 5 years of her childhood. Same shoes, same clothes. But a lot of that was because, again, with the violent seizures that we were having over and over, her growth was stunted with a lot of that. And it was kind of something that we knew was going to happen. But once we were healing, because we weren't having seizures with that first card, she was 1 year, 8 days, 7 days, or 1 year, 8 months, 7 days seizure free. And we had a breakthrough, but she had also gained 10 pounds that month. Within about 3 months, she gained 30 pounds and about 6 inches and had a huge growth spurt. And we had 2 seizures right there. But with that, we had to go see the neurologist because her seizures are very violent. So of course we're having we have to have a lot of thorough follow-up with MRIs and things because of the nature of her seizures. So we're seeing the neurologist and they're demanding we immediately put her on Klonopin and Valium. Now back to the beginning of this story, and when she was 4, we had done Ativan, Valium, Klonopin, Keppra, Trileptal. The list is endless of the things that we had tried. And I had neurologists telling me none of these are working. None of these are options. She's going to die. So when I tell these doctors, no, we can't go there. We have an evidence here that this medicine is working. We need to increase the dosing and we need to adjust it slowly accordingly because it's shown evidence of working. But if you look back in her medical history and you see that none of these things worked and that these neurologists had said no. And I was threatened from the point of the doctors and said, if you'll take it or we will have CPS come give it to her. So I agreed to it at the hospital because we're not going to not go home without our kid. So I went home with my daughter. The next morning, I was met with them at my front door. They were saying that I was medically neglecting my child and that was a threat of harm. And so they did take her from me. They took her to the hospital immediately because she's a medical patient. They have to have her a thorough look over with the CPS worker. I followed them. They didn't just take her. I did go with them. She was going with my mom for the weekend because this was a Friday night. And so we went up there. They put an immediate stop order on her cannabis. Again, we have to ease in, we have to ease out. I told them, and they gave her Keppra. Keppra, I told them she has a history of psychosis with. It's like injecting demons in my child. She goes from rainbows and sunshine to growling, hitting, angry, just fighting herself. It's terrible. It's night and day, a totally different child. So I told them they couldn't do that. They told me that I lost my right to that opinion and made me leave the room. My mom stayed there, but she didn't really know a whole lot like I do. I mean, and I don't fault her for that. It's just because that's my baby.
Right.
But either way, I was in the lobby. She did go stay the weekend with my mom. Again, this was Friday night when all this happened. And I was there with her. When we made it to in front of a judge on Monday, the judge quickly understood that I was not a parent who was just handing my kid a joint. I was like, listen, here's the book. Here's every time I've ever given it to her. Here's the reason that we take the doses that we have. Here's why we're doing everything that we're doing. Here's what it does. Here's our history. And he gave me my child back right there in the courtroom.
Oh, yeah.
And then I asked for show cause, even with him giving my child back. I said, okay, you said that I did this and that I'm a threat of harm. I can now no longer adopt a child in the state of Oklahoma because you have proven that I'm a horrible person. I need you to show cause. I need you to show cause and prove it.
Right.
So I volunteered for the next 6 months to have coffee with the lady every Tuesday, the CPS worker that had to come to my house weekly. When we went to court, we showed up for the show cause hearing in which CPS did not show up. They weren't even present for their own hearing to show cause for why I was a medical neglect. And the judge was like, why are we here? I'm like, I'm not really sure. The DA wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. So we closed the case from there. And now to this day, Marley's 4.5 years seizure free. This following December, she will be her big 5 years seizure free. And she is absolutely killing it. She is doing so. She's starting to, she's reading. She can write her name. Again, with the potty training thing, she was potty trained and she lost it at 4 in a big seizure.
Yeah.
And then, so we've gotten that back. She's amazing. She does more every day than I expected her to ever do. And it's amazing.
Yeah. Now, I have my youngest biological daughter. She will be 25 in May. And my family doesn't have like family history of seizures or anything like that. And she was about 18 months old. She was potty training. I had her in just like, little potty panties, type thing, not a diaper. And we were walking across the street to my mom's house and she was in dress shoes and she slid and she fell. And when she did, she landed directly on her butt, hard. Oh, no. And she instantly started drawing in air and sucking in air. And then the next thing I know, she's turning blue and she's convulsing and all of these crazy things are occurring. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh, it's so terrifying to watch.
That was in 2003. And when 788 got put onto the ballot, I myself was not a cannabis consumer, but I knew what it could do for my child just based off of just opening your ears and listening to people. You know what I mean? And so I 100% was down for it. I signed it, I voted yes for it. And obviously, same thing for you with your child. But, one of the things I wanted to ask you is how important is it for Marley and for other patients like Marley to have access to safe, clean, quality medical cannabis?
It's life or death. So I'm not going to name drop people because they're the people that I currently use and we were able to work it out. But I will say it makes a huge impact. The same people that make my daughter's meds currently made them in the beginning. And they had an ownership changed in which I was promised and things would not change and down to the actual ingredients, where they were coming from, the dyes being used, all of those things. I was promised none of this was going to change. And I could tell in the first bag we got, it was different.
Yeah.
I could see neurological activity in my child. I could see that there was changes. I made the phone call and I was like, listen, I'm not trying to be the overprotective mom. However, I need to know what you've changed.
Right.
And they didn't lie to me. That again, that's why we still have an
good.
agreement. Is
Right.
they didn't lie to me. They're like, no, these things changes. These things should have been portrayed to you. And then they did. It was just a temporary thing because this wasn't available, but that we should have never been able to have that happen. And that was kind of my point, the consistency and the quality and why that matters.
Mhm.
And actually, this company has now made it a policy of their brand to not, if they just won't fulfill orders before they're going to fill it with anything that's inconsistent because of the medical quality.
Okay.
So like, since that happened, they will no longer do it. If they can't get the same source of the same products using the beet dyes instead of the reds, or whatever, if they can't use the proper quality natural ingredients that they promise, then they won't fulfill orders. They're just going to be on back order for a little bit, and then we'll just drive to go get them. But at least know.
I think the next thing I wanted to ask you about was Marley's Law and what you guys are achieving or have tried to achieve in doing Marley's Law and what it is.
Yeah, when we got caught up with the CPS ordeal, the main issues with all of that came down to, and I won't blame the CPS workers because they followed to the book what they were supposed to do, except for not showing up. That was more their supervisors. That was more their supervisors' issues. But in the actual casework, they weren't doing anything wrong. They got an allegation that was true and serious according to their things. They handled it according to prior law because they didn't have anything different. But here we now have another state agency that's saying, give them cannabis. She has a med card. This is legal. Proceed. But this one over here didn't know how to deal with that. So part of this was we had to sit down and we had to figure out how to protect the parents because she was protected to have. I was trying to buy it for her, but they tried to tell me I couldn't administer it to her. It was a weird gray area. And so essentially what Marley's Law came in and did was to protect the parents and administer it to their children, and making those decisions for their kids. But within the CPS organization, we were able to work with them on how to properly identify issues and abuse and the differences between the medical need and necessity and getting proper documentation for that need and necessity versus just giving your teen some weed. Because there's a very big difference, and both are happening in this state. They are. But that's the same thing that happens with the Loratab prescription. You're going to have bad parents and you're going to have bad people. But that doesn't change the true medical benefits that are happening. We just need proper policies in play, and we need actual people actually holding people accountable. I know.
Sorry,
that's a whole nother.
I apologize.
That's a whole nother podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, example, the regulatory agency, the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, instead of taking someone and, processing them for their criminal actions that were taken, then they won't do that, but they'll put them through administrative courts instead. And so, and I say, not that I'm saying they don't ever do it, but there are so few people that have been charged criminally for this type of stuff other than straw owners, you know what I mean? Like you take somebody who's put out, a buku of contaminated products on the market and all they get is a fine, a fee, a slap on the wrist, and safe passage to the next state to go do it again. So
it's So I worked in the cannabis industry from legalization, from the stores, managed stores. I did all of that, and I left it because my heart broke every single day. And now I still do advocacy. I will still do business consulting. I still do things like that. but I had to get out of the stores because every single day my heart broke. But it was from both angles, from the lack of care from a state perspective to the lack of consistency and quality and taking care of our patients, to the highest THC patient, to all of them. It's just everything about it. It broke my heart every day, especially because I was out here trying to educate, and out here we held tons of events in the southern part of the state and brought names like Riff Raff, Afro Man, the People's Choice Paul Wall. We brought Ying Yang Twins. We did a lot down here in events, but we did them because we wanted to get the people together to be like, hey, yeah, weed's cool and all, but remember what we're here for, y'all, and to educate the patients and to get them all there, but so that we could then educate them. And so that was a big thing that we did down here. And so I was really hands-on and doing a lot of the advocacy and doing a lot of those things. But again, I had to look out for my mental health too. And my heart was broken every day. And I will continue to advocate, and I'll never stop doing that. But I had to get out of the trenches every day.
I feel that. I've had to take some severely large steps backwards over the last few months, health pending issues, and just the stress is just too much at the moment. And so I've had to step back in ways that I wasn't headed towards stepping back. I was headed towards ramping up.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
I feel that. After being sick last year, I wasn't ready for any of that either.
Right. Let's see. I wanted to ask you about the Lion Legacy Park project.
Yeah, the park. So started as a conversation, again, about my daughter. She is 13, but mentally she's more probably about, I'd say 6, 7, 8. There's some things she's more 6, 7, some things she's more probably 8, 9. But yeah, 6, 7. We have to, right? It's embedded in our souls at this point. There's a lot of different times that she seems different ages. Where were we going with that? You scrolled me.
The park.
Oh, the park. Okay. Yeah. So it started with a conversation about how I want a place to play with my kid, and how parks that we have don't necessarily work for her. And what I mean by that is she's very sensory. She also is a little bit larger of a child and everything's small. And so what I mean, when she gets there, she's excited to be at the park, but we don't last 20, 30 minutes because she shows up and she's already overstimulated, and then this doesn't quite work for her, and this step is too high. And by the time she gets to play, she's over it because she's so overstimulated because it's not a place for her. But every kid deserves a place to play. And so what started as a conversation over lunch with, I'm the vice president of Durant Lions Club. I was with lunch with the president, was a park. And our community doesn't have the funding to go out there and build a park. Let's just be honest. They can do a lot of things to help our parks, but the park we're looking at building is a $1.5 million park. This is a fully fenced, ADA compliant. It will have the wider slides. It will have ADA compliant for the wheelchairs so that they can go up to the slide and then be able to take their wheelchair down. We'll have ADA compliant wheelchair merry-go-rounds. There will be communication boards for the nonverbal autistic, cool down zones. We're going to have a little splash pad. It's all going to be fenced for, the ones that want to wander. But this is a place to play for these kids, and it gives a place for them to actually play. So we formed a 501c3 nonprofit to get the community involved again, and let them build the park from the ground up. Whether you're a mom that pays $50 to get your kid's name on a brick that lines the sidewalk, or you're a Choctaw Nation company that wants to give us a grant and be actually a part of a piece of equipment or whatever it may be. We're going to take the community and we're going to build a park for these kiddos. We do have a match grant in play for that as well, dollar for dollar. So we only actually have to come up with half of that to build the park, which is really exciting. And it's by the actual people that are building the equipment itself. So that's really cool.
What is the goal for the park to open date?
Oh, that is a whole different ballgame. Right now, we just established the 501c3 nonprofit and got legal with the government and are opening bank accounts. We will be rolling out the sponsorship forms and all of that jazz within the next month. And those will roll into those bank accounts and things. And then it's just really whenever we meet each project deadline. So in order to do each part of the park, the first initial part is $1 million. So we have to make it to at least the 500,000 because again, we have to have half. We have to make halfway to start the park. So then we'll be able to break the ground and ribbon cut and do the initial part of the park. Now from there, we'll tier out. Some of the other things we'll add to the park will be the splash pad on the back corner. You can actually go to lionsclubdurant.com and click on Lion Legacy Park Project and see the full blueprints of what that park's looking like right now, and kind of what it will entail. And it is the rough outlines. We've got a few things we want to tweak just because there's a specific little boy in our community that's in a wheelchair. And when we started talking about the park, he asked me for a merry-go-round. And there's not a merry-go-round in those proofs, but what I can promise you is there will be a merry-go-round in those proofs for that little boy. So we have to make sure there's a few edits we're going to make, but it's for the benefits. In the proofs, there's a hill that's a little bit too high coming off a slide, and we don't like that. We, as parents, especially as kids, there's a few tweaks we want to make, but it's for the safety and the betterment of the park.
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. I'm so excited for that. And, you also told me that you have a goal to make Durant the first in the nation for all parks in Durant to be inclusive parks.
Yes. So the Lion Legacy Park will be their park. If you will, everywhere that our kids go, they have to kind of conform to a world that doesn't really fit them. But this is going to be a park where they fit in and everybody else needs to conform to them. And I think that's beautiful, number one, because it speaks to inclusion. Come understand our world too. Talk with us on a communication board, play with us on an ADA compliant merry-go-round. It's that sense of inclusion. But beyond that, sitting with our Park and Recreation Director in Durant, his name is Ryan Brewer. He spoke that nobody in the nation had all their parks all inclusive. And I was like, wait a minute, that can't be true. And turns out there's not anybody at least there's not anybody saying that they are. We have tried to find anywhere in this nation. And so it became a goal. With having the 501c3 nonprofit, the government asks us to set out a longevity plan. And so with building a park, not only do we want to have events at this park for the longevity part of that, we want to go from this flagship park to every other city park in the city of Durant and make Durant the first in the nation to flagship inclusivity and make every park all inclusive for every kid to play.
Right. No, that sounds amazing. I am all for that. All for that. I have a 2-year-old grandson who is a level 3 autistic. And he's one of those he's a runner, escape artist. And so, finding places that are safe for him to be able to enjoy, that's important.
It is very important. And the things that we're thinking, so one of the people that we actually have on the committee that helps us with the planning for this, her name is Brenna Dutton. She is the owner-founder of the Owen Foundation and the Owen Academy here in Durant. And they do a lot for the autism community, but they also have a school here that does the ABA therapy, but it's child-led. And it's really beautiful to see what they're doing. And so this will be a place for those kids to have their own park as well. But you also may want to look up
hang on, you cut out.
The Amber Alert, but for specific autistic children, so that when they do escape, you know better how to handle the situation because it's a runner, it's autistic. So they want to put in an Amber Alert type thing called the Owen Alert. That would be an alert specific to autism.
Yeah, I may have to have you text me that because you cut out on part of that in the very beginning. That's okay. Was it called the Owen Alert?
The Owen Alert, yes. So it's the Owen Academy, the Owen Foundation, and the Owen Act. Owen is Brina Dutton's autistic son.
Okay. So I'm going to call this an escapee app. That way I know which one I'm looking at. Yeah. So, one of the things I want to ask the community and people that are watching this today is, we want to hear your stories and your journeys in medical cannabis. I know that this platform reaches outside of Oklahoma. I want to be able to share people's experiences with how cannabis has saved their lives, how it's, allowed them to live their life differently. And if you've had a negative story that you want to share, then you're more than welcome to share that as well. But these stories right here, this is not just story. This is truth. This is, what Shelly and Marley are, living every day and living proof of. And I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing your story with us. Is there anything else that you want to add that we haven't covered?
I don't think so. You want to meet her?
Huh? Yes.
Hang on. I'll grab her.
We'll go through and do comments after that.
Marley.
Yay! I'm super excited. I'm excited. I feel like my dog wiggling my tail.
Come here.
This is exciting. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shirley.
She's so funny. Come here, Marley. Come here. You want to say hi to my people? Here, come here. Sit down. Hi.
Hi, Marley. How are you?
Good.
Welcome to our podcast. We were talking about your amazing cheer squad.
Yes. I told them you're going to Orlando.
Hey. Hey, are you going to go to the beach? Yes. Yeah. You like to collect shells?
No, you're not shy. Why are you going to act shy?
What you want to do at the beach?
Go swimming.
But we like to donate it from Patients for Safe Access towards you.
Huh?
Tell her that.
Go swimming.
Go swimming? Hey, so I actually just had a little bird fly over here and talk to me in my ear and said that Patients for Safe Access wants to donate $100 to help get you to Orlando.
Woo woo! Say thank you.
So, thank you.
Yay. Well, thank you so much, Miss Marley, for coming on as well.
Say bye. Bye. She said bye.
All right, let's cover a couple comments here real quick and see what we need to do. Let's see. Charlie says we will make sure your truth counts, meaning your testimony here today. And everyone, please send in your cannabis stories that saved your life, where cannabis saved your life. We asked about the governor's response. A couple of people saying hello. Charlie says marijuana.
Apology. I'd love an apology.
Uh-huh.
I want an apology.
Yes. From the governor's office. From the
same filthy mouth that said what he said. I would love an apology.
Uh-huh. I would love to get one too.
We'll ask for one on Friday.
We'll ask for one on Friday. We're actually going to the city on Friday. We're going to be at the Capitol for the EAC meeting, for the Executive Advisory Council meeting. And so we'll be there that day. And we always go to the governor's office when we're there to try to connect with them. So let's see. Mazibur says, heartbreaking yet powerful A mother's fight for her child is something beyond words. Respect for that strength. That goes to you, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Eric says, I wish the federal government saw what everyday civilians saw, and that's how much marijuana actually helps people in many ways. Absolutely, Eric. We couldn't agree more. Next one is stories like this really show how complex healthcare decisions can be. A mother's courage can move mountains. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to get in Shelly's way.
They don't like me, but it's fine.
Charlie
She's alive
says,
and doing great.
absolutely, right? That's the most important part. Charlie said, Shelly, I hope your story sparks the world to share their story and it changes the world. Thank you, Charlie. Eric said, that is an amazing story for her. And powerful topic, ma'am. Really looking forward to this live. Stories like this need to be heard. Absolutely they do. And that's what we're going to start doing here is be sharing those. This must have been an incredibly difficult journey. How is your daughter doing now? Well, if you didn't just see, she's amazing.
She's amazing. She's so good.
Like,
She's tired right now. She's about ready for bed. She's been laying there watching TV, but she's normally asleep by 8:30 or so. So she's pretty sleepy right now.
And as we all know, this one says, no one fights harder than a mother, truly powerful. And that is the truth. You could probably go 10 rounds with Muhammad Ali over that child.
I would.
So,
I would.
I know what you mean. Thank you. I like it. I'm not sure what that one was in regard to. Such an emotional, important topic. Can't wait to hear the full story. If you didn't get to hear all of it, please go back and listen now. Make sure that you share this story out there. It is important that the people in the Capitol and our legislators who are making the decisions for us make educated decisions. We have to call them, we have to communicate, but we have to do it professionally and respectfully too. We can't go out on hot ship and expect that they're going to want to do something to help us out. So Charles says, my tears of joy will change the world. Thank you, Shelly. I needed your story. So, respect for bringing sensitive but important discussions to light. This is why your content stands out. Thank you so much for that comment, Maysburg. I appreciate that. All right, great session, man. Learned a lot today. All right, guys. Well, we are a few over. Let's see. Oh, Charles says, Shelly, you are truly inspirational, fighting for your child's right. This is what the compassion of 788 stood for. Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Shelly, much love. One love.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me.
I can't wait to have you back on again. I want updates. I want pictures of Orlando. I want
We're going to Orlando.
And also, if you don't mind, do you have your Cash App or your Venmo? Would you like to share either of those real quick?
My Cash App is at Shelled Studios, SHELLD Studios. I don't know what my Venmo is on the top of my head. But all of those things should also be on my Facebook page as we are sharing those things. My name, I think, is spelt on this correctly with the EY. But you can find me. Everything I have is public. So I'm not a hard person.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in again next week, and we will catch you guys later. You can take us out, Hippie. Have fun, y'all.
Summer Parker leading the way, shining bright like the healing rays. 420 patients, we stand as one. Safe access for everyone. Oh, we rise up, lifted higher. Medicine fueled by love and fire. Together we blaze.